Hey, what is up, YouTube? Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. My name is Mr. Kyle Cohen. I'm a fourth grade teacher in Cleveland, Ohio, and happy spring break. I am here. It is a sunny day in Cleveland. I am procrastinating doing some grad school assignments, so I really appreciate you supporting me in that effort. Thought it would be fun to do a little Q&A video, talk about the end of the school year, everything that's going on, so let's get into it. Before we get into the Q&A, I thought I would show you my desk setup that I've been working with. I love a good desk setup. So let me show you what we've got going. I moved things from my bedroom to my living room just for the sole purposes of spring break because the lighting is just so great in here. But I have my computer attached to the monitor with the keyboard, and I got the notebook and the lotion, and we are like in the zone here. And even with this desk setup, I'm finding ways to procrastinate getting my work done. So we are here to celebrate that greatness today. I asked you all over on my Instagram, Mr. Kyle Cohen, if you are not following me, what questions you have, and you all came through, per usual, with some great questions. So let's get into answering them. Actually, let's not do that yet. Let's make some coffee, and then we will answer some questions. It tastes like how you'd expect it to taste. Anyway, I'm sitting by the window. The windows are open. I live in the downtown area, and there's actually a baseball game going on today. The Cleveland Indians are kicking off their season, so if you hear some spontaneous fireworks or rumblings of noise, that's why. Anyway, first question. Kate asks, how was state testing? Well, Kate, thanks for asking. In a recent video, I talked about my feelings of state testing, not necessarily my feelings of state testing generally. As a teacher and a future administrator, I understand the value of standardized testing. I understand the value of standardized testing throughout the state as we are using the Common Core and the whole thing. I get it. I hear you. But it's the middle of a pandemic. Kids just went through more than we can even wrap our heads around. Why are we putting them through this? But Kate, to answer your question more specifically, they're doing okay. I have students who get really stressed and nervous when it comes to these tests, and I have students who don't necessarily care very much. I mean, all of that is pretty normal. I question, is the fact that we're having the students take these tests worth it? Are we getting that critical of information that we need? And with that information, what are we doing with it, right? So are we introducing policy and systems that are going to benefit students instead of just having the data that shows that kids in the spring of 2019 were ahead academically as opposed to students in the spring of 2021 who now are demonstrating that there was a pandemic and that there are some gaps in their education. So what are we going to do about it? Jason asks, what are some of your favorite end of year activities in the classroom? That is a fun question. I really love the end of the school year. Again, standardized testing is over and done with. We have the ability to finally teach as we always dreamed of without the limitations of testing. And that mindset's a little bit problematic. I was just having a conversation with a college student who was interviewing me for a project, and she actually asked me if I believe that I teach to the test. And my response was, of course I teach to the test. I am teaching students standards that are given by the state of Ohio and the Common Core, and it's my expectation that students are mastering these standards so that it aligns with the state tests, right? The standards align with the questions that are being assessed on the test, and if I don't teach my students in a way that align to those standards, they're not going to perform successfully on the test, which will then come back on me as their teacher, and it's a whole cycle. Now, I don't think that every minute of every day I am teaching students directly how to answer the questions properly on the test. but I am making sure that my instruction aligns to that information. So when it comes to end of year activities, we can be more flexible with what we're doing. We don't feel as restricted when it comes to time. And again, it highlights how overwhelming these tests end up being for kids and teachers when it comes to instruction. But some of my favorite end of year activities, there is an escape room that I will link down below that I bought on Teachers Pay Teachers in my first year of teaching. It is such a blast. It is a review of the entire year of math. This one is specifically aligned to 4th grade math because that's what I teach, but they have these escape rooms for pretty much every grade level. So I don't remember who created it, but again, I will link that down in the description box. So escape rooms are great. I also just love taking my students outside. Angela Watson, I don't know if you listen to her. I talk about her all the time here on this YouTube channel. I'm a big fan of her and her work. Angela just recently launched a podcast episode about teaching outside. It's also a great kind of incentive of if things aren't going the way you want, like, hey everyone, if we can promise that if we go outside, we can do this activity in 15 minutes with everyone being super focused. Let's all go outside and do that. It's a helicopter. Or a plane. Or both. Escape rooms, getting students outside. I would also say projects. We do our narrative writing unit at the end of the year. I know a lot of people start the year with narrative writing. My team and I believe that we want our students to have a really strong informative writing foundation. We also want them to have a really strong opinion writing foundation because typically those two forms of writing are assessed on the state test. Again, coming back to the test. So we love saving it for the end. It is so much fun to teach narrative writing, to get students excited about it. We also buy blank books where students take their narrative writing and they actually get to publish a book. So we have a lot of fun with that. So for me and my students, the end of the year is filled with a ton of projects, activities, games. We play a ton of games and it's really just a great time. Cheers to fun. Chantel asks a great question. How do you manage behaviors at the end of the school year? I don't know about you, but my 3rd graders are out of control. I think this is an awesome question. I recently posted a video here on this channel talking about classroom management, more specifically talking about classroom management when it comes to this school year. I share my mindset for classroom management and my thinking for when it comes to how I manage my classroom effectively. When it comes to the end of the school year, I don't know if this is going to be some tough love for any of you out there, but when it comes to the end of the school year, I personally find that this common idea of, oh, students are so terrible at the end of the school year, oh, things are crazy at the end of the year, I'm gonna push back on that a little bit and say, I think a lot of that, 90% of it, falls on the teacher. And hear me out, I'm not trying to say that you are a bad teacher, but I am saying you're tired. The end of the school year is a time when teachers are burnt out. Teachers are exhausted. Your level of patience for saying the same thing over and over and over again to the same students over and over again. It's miserable. It's exhausting. I get it. I hear you. But at the end of the day, when you are planning activities that are highly engaging, that push your students to think critically, that form amazing moments for kids in the classroom, when you are putting in the effort to plan really awesome days, there isn't time for students to be misbehaving. Or when they are not meeting expectations, they are making a fool of themselves because everyone else is meeting expectations but them. And again, this is just my personal opinion, but I know in my classroom, when I show up and I plan a jam-packed day full of things that kids are going to love, the day goes a lot different than when I try to plan an easy day where things are going to be really laid back and relaxed and give me a break as the teacher. And don't get me wrong, there are days when I do those things, but I know that when things move quick and the pace is high and we are learning and we are moving and things are going really well, there isn't time for students to be not meeting expectations. So when it comes to the end of the year, my advice for you would be think about the types of lessons and activities that you are bringing in front of your students. If you are showing up in the final weeks of the school year, counting down until your summer vacation, I promise you, it will be a tough ride. So I think shift your mindset get excited for the end of the school year and a way of channeling that energy into creating awesome learning moments for kids in the classroom. I really appreciate those of you who have been supporting the YouTube channel, who've been watching these videos. If you have not already done so, make sure you hit that red subscription button down below so that you do not miss out on any future videos. Leave a comment sharing how your spring break is going. How are things going for you and your students as we approach the final stretch of the 2020-2021 school year? I cannot believe that we have made it this far. You have done it. Go out there and be the type of teacher that you have always wanted to be, the type of teacher that your students deserve. As always, I so appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.